Thea. I am not professionally trained as a sewist. However, I have been around highly proficient sewers in my life. However, I do feel very confident that I can teach you how to make a very simple instant gratification project, if you will, a fabric napkin. Now, why a fabric napkin? I know there are quite a few new sewers out there thanks to the pandemic. Maybe you've learned how to make a face covering in recent weeks and months, and you might be sitting on a little stash of fabric. Maybe you bought a yard of fabric and you have some excess to use, or maybe you made a face mask out of cotton sheets that you had, and we could use that fabric today. And this is a very simple project. It's a lot of straight line stitching, and it's okay. Like, you can even see my stitching is, or my folding here is not exactly perfect, but it's a napkin, it's okay. So fabric napkins are a really quick project, and it's great for a beginning sewist. It's, like I said, a really great way to use up excess fabric and just, you know, broaden your sewing skills a little bit. So the things you'll need are some cotton fabric, thread, scissors, some little pins, a sewing machine, and an iron. Now, you could do this by hand rather than using a sewing machine. It will just take you some time, so it won't be that instant gratification project as I promised, but you can still get the job done. And sometimes hand sewn things are a little bit sweeter too, so keep that in mind. So let's begin. Okay, here I have a few extra things that you do not need for this project, but I happen to have them, and if you happen to have them, I recommend using them just because why not? They are a cutting mat, a straight edge, which is just a fancy big ruler, a rotary cutter, which is just a little spinny wheel here, and I'll show you how it works if you're not familiar. So, but otherwise you could just use scissors to do your cutting, a regular ruler, or you could even just mark it with a pencil. Easy peasy. So what you'll need for at least just one napkin, there's no pressure to make a set of 4 or 6 or however many. It's kind of fun to mix and match the fabrics too. I believe a standard napkin is about 16 by 16, so 16 inches by 16 inches, and that tells me I need to cut 17 inches by 17 inches because we're going to do some folding to make the edges nice. So you're going to lose a little bit of fabric due to the folds. So if you wanted to go even bigger, I think the standard dinner napkin size is 22 by 22. So then you would want to cut a 23 by 23 square. So let's get cutting. I have first ironed my fabric out just to make it straight because it was crumpled up in a pile. So you want to make sure that your fabric is nice and flat. So if it isn't, go ahead and just, you know, iron it real quick. I'm ready to cut my 17 by 17 square. I have the fabric folded over itself, so I will be cutting 2 napkins at once. And I've marked with a little stick pin here that this is where I need to cut alongside the edges here. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I just roll it across. I like to give it 2 goes, just to be sure. And then I close it, roll this back, and then I'm going to do the same over on this side. No need for the safety pin over here because I can see where the marker is. So I've just cut 2 napkins. All right, now I've cut 2 napkins here. And I happen to cut the fabric on the fold, so I'm going to go ahead and make this into 2. All right. So we have 2 napkins. I'm gonna move this straight edge out of the way. So I'm gonna turn my iron on and we're gonna iron off the edges. Okay, so at this point, you just wanna iron out any kind of folds that you might have just to make it nice and straight. Makes it easier to sew and work with. All right, I do have the steam setting on my old beat iron here. I use my little appliances until they die. And this one just keeps going, so I keep using her. So at this point, what you're gonna wanna do is fold up any side of the fabric. It doesn't matter which side you start with, about 1/4 of an inch. And then grab your iron and just walk it down while pulling it up as you go, just like this. And if it's not straight, it's 100% okay, because like I said, it's just a napkin. So, and you're essentially gonna wanna do this all the way around. So, I'm gonna speed this up. All right, now we've done all the edges. So what we're going to do is essentially repeat that. Just fold it up another 1/4 of an inch. Grab your iron and walk it down. Just like that. Now you can kind of already see where we're going to be stitching. So just rotate it around. And give a little extra attention to the bulky corner. Give it a little extra press. And don't freak out if it's not perfectly square. This is for practice, and it's a napkin, guys. Okay, so here we are. We've got all of them ironed and folded up. Now what we're gonna do next is we're gonna remove some of this bulk in the corner here. Okay, what you're gonna wanna do is lay your napkin out on a flat surface and gently unravel the corner. And what we're gonna wanna do to relieve some bulk is just nip off the corner here. So it's about a little over 1/2 inch on mine. So it's like a little perfect triangle. And then what we're going to do is fold up the corner here, just like so. Okay, I'll do it one more time. So we have this open corner now. This is, I cut off the corner. I'm gonna roll it in one time to the first pressing, and then I'm going to tuck it up like this, and then I'm going to roll up where the second pressing was. So now we have a very neat corner. Let me show you before I pin it. All right. All right, so what we're going to want to do is roll up towards the first pressing, and then we're going to take the corner that we just cut, take one side, fold it up. You can already kind of see what's going on here. And then fold up the second one. So then you have a very sharp corner like so. I'll do it again, but I'll show you if you got it on the first go, you stick a pin in right into it. So and you're just going to want to do this for all of the corners. So this is what it should look like. All right? Okay. And again, so unravel. Cut that triangle off, toss it to the side. You do the first 1/4 inch fold up from the pressing. You tuck up that corner. Also about 1/4 inch. That might be a little too much. Okay. And then the first fold up. And then the second fold up. And then grab a pin and stick it straight through. You just need it to hold until you get to the sewing machine. All right? Okay, so what's next is you sit down at your sewing machine and you put it on, it's probably the default setting of the straight stitch. You want to line your presser foot up right over your fabric, like so. At this point for me, I usually just remove the little stick pins. So without getting into any fancy terms or anything like that, the main goal for this is to sew as close to the edge as possible because it secures down this little flap. So when you wash it, it won't fold up. So with the corners, sometimes you have to go a little slow. And as you gain confidence, as you go down, pick up a little speed. And it's okay if you kind of get a little loose with your lines here. Okay. I'm just going to pull that out a little bit. And you can see mine is totally not straight. That's okay. It's a napkin. Who cares? Let me go ahead and remove that. All right. We're coming over to a corner. And once I hit the next fold, I'll stop, lift my presser foot, and pivot the fabric. So that way I'm not doing any extra stitching or disrupting the fabric in any way. So I can just keep on stitching. Go ahead and remove that pin and just simply guide it through. Yep. All right, and pivot. and pivot once again. I'm a little bundled up here because I have the camera essentially in my lap. All right, and in the final stitches here, what you're going to want to do is complete the line. And then if your machine doesn't have it, like mine does here, I have a little back stitch button. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit it. You're going to want to do a couple back stitches to secure the stitch. That's all. And then go ahead and release your napkin. And what we're going to want to do is just trim off these extra threads. Oops. And then okay. Make sure that you don't have any stray threads. I'm no perfectionist, but I don't like stray threads. All right, so you can press this one more time to just make it look crisper, but essentially, that's it, guys. Super easy. I hope this was an easy project for you, instantly gratifying and useful. Those are always the best projects. I hope you'll tune in for future craft videos that I'll be putting out. I don't know what they're going to be yet, but I have some ideas and I hope you'll come along this ride with me. Thanks for watching. Good?
That was 1,000 times better than